Okay, so let's look at 1 and 2 right here. Now, what it's asking is, the instructions, and you guys can see them, I can't see them, but they're asking you to probably add or subtract. What does it say at the top? Subtract them. So what this number 1 is saying, it's saying subtract this from this. So you start with that, and you subtract that from it. So you've got 3c plus 7, and you're taking away from that c plus 5. Those of you who missed it probably did that backwards. You got to read it, right? So I'll distribute the negative, and so I've got 3c plus 7 minus c minus 5, correct? What is 3c minus c? 2c. And 7 minus 5 is, so it's positive 2, so that's why I put a plus sign here. So that was the correct answer. You got to read it, right? Okay, this one right here says 3a minus 3 subtracted from a plus 3. Or I said that wrong. 3a minus 3 minus a plus 3. So we're taking 3a minus 3 and subtracting a plus 3. So what do I need to do with this negative sign here?
Distribute.
So I've got 3a minus 3 minus a minus 3, right? 3a minus a is 2a. And negative 3 and negative 3 is negative
6.
Perfect. So that's my answer right there. So on number 3 right here, I've got this trinomial, and I'm subtracting from it this binomial, aren't I? So I've got to take this negative right here, and I've got to distribute it to both, right?
Yes.
So this is going to be n squared plus 3n plus 3 minus what?
2n minus 3.
Good. And now you need to combine like terms. For something to be a like term, it has to have the same variable and the same exponent. Okay? Now, you can see this is squared. Are any of these other terms squared? So n squared does not have a like term, so I'm just going to write down n squared, right? There's no like term. But now 3n and negative 2n, right here I'm saying I have 3 n's. And here I'm saying I have negative 2 n's. So when you add it up, you got 1 n. And then 3 minus 3 is nothing. And so this is the answer. The best way to write it would be n squared plus n. Because you don't generally write 1n. Let's look at 4. I got to distribute the negative on 4, right? Hello?
Yes.
So I've got a squared minus 2a minus 1 minus 2a squared minus 2a minus 3, like that. Okay? Now, a squared and negative 2a is negative a squared, right?
Yes.
Negative 2a and negative 2a is negative 4a. And negative 1 and negative 3 is negative 4. Okay, let's look at 5. Okay? 5 is right here. I've got 2xy squared minus xy minus 1. And then I got to distribute the negative to this, don't I? So let's distribute the negative. 2xy squared minus xy minus 1 minus xy squared plus xy plus 1. Right? Now, 2xy squared and negative 1xy squared can be combined. And so it'll be 1xy squared. The reason those are like terms is they both have an x and they both have a y squared. Right?
Yes.
Okay, and so now negative 1xy and positive 1xy, those just cancel. They equal 0, don't they?
Yes.
And negative 1 and positive 1 equals 0 also. So there's your answer. Okay, on 6, I need to also distribute this negative, don't I? And so I have 2x squared y squared plus x squared y plus xy squared plus 3 minus x squared y squared minus x squared y plus xy plus 2y squared, right? When I distribute the negative to all these, all distributing a negative does is change the what? All right, so now let's combine like terms. So I've got 2x squared y squared. Do you see any other x squared y squareds in the problem? I got a negative one right there, don't I? 2 minus 1 is 1, x squared y squared. Right? Now here I have x squared y to the first, and here I have x squared y to the first. This one's positive 1, this one's negative 1, so they just cancel, don't they? Here I have xy squared, and here, nowhere else I have xy squared, do I? So I'm just going to write plus xy squared, and I use that. There's nothing to go with xy, so I just write plus xy. And there's nothing to go with 2y squared, so I write 2y squared. And nothing to go with 3, so I write plus 3. So there's your answer right there. So on 7, the only change on 7 is that we take this negative 3. Instead of it just being a negative, now it's a number, right? So we're going to distribute the negative 3 to all three of those. So I have 4y squared minus y minus 1. And negative 3 times y squared is negative 3y squared. Plus what? 6y minus what? Say 6. Because that's negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6. 4y squared and negative 3y squared is just y squared, right? Negative y and 6y is positive 5y. And negative 1 and negative 6 is negative 7. So there's your answer right there. Look, DeJuan brought up a great point. A lot of you are doing this. Y'all look up. If I have 2y squared plus 3y squared, that is not 5y to the 4th. Right? So, guys, can y'all see that? When you do 2y squared plus 3y squared, it is not 5y to the 4th. You only add the exponents. You see this exponent here and this exponent here? You only add the exponents when you what? Multiply. When you add, you're not adding the exponents, you're just adding the coefficients. So let's look at number 8. On 8, I'm going to distribute the negative to all three. And so I have 2, well, let me change colors. 2 x squared plus x plus 3 minus x squared minus 3x plus 2. So all I did was change the sign of everything right there, right? 2x squared and negative x squared is 1x squared. X and negative 3x is negative 2x. And 3 and 2 is 5. So there's your answer right there.